This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. This episode is sponsored by livecom.com. That's LIVECOMM.com, as in live communications. It's all about lead generation and mass texting and smartphone numbers that capture the incoming caller's phone number. Check out my webpage over at livecom.com and see how I'm using this in one instance to make sure that my properties sell in an average of 4 days upon putting them up for sale. So my days on market for the last 200 houses is about 4 days, down from 9. It's that, but and you just out. But there's a lot of ways to use it for almost every and any kind of business. I happen to specialize in real estate investing, so I'm teaching that. If you go to my YouTube channel and look at the channel named Livecom, LIVECOMM, you can see all the features, and I go through and show you how to use those features within the system, how to turn things on and off. And then I also tell you how I'm using them to market. And it's a very, very valuable list of functions and strategies. So check it out, livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. And next time I have a company, I'll name it something different so I don't have to keep saying COMM, okay? So with no further ado, I have Kathy Kennebrook on the line. She's in Florida, and we're going to be talking about how to profit from vacant land. Now, let me tell you this. Everyone's out there looking for those little bread and butter brick houses, you know, and trying to flip houses. If you have not added some other opportunities to your tool belt, you're missing out on huge portions of real estate investing that you can make profit on, and they're not so different from the things you're profiting on now. Most people overlook vacant land, and it can be a big money maker. I'll talk to you from experience. So, you know, I do houses, I do small commercial, I do vacant land, I do small ranches or parcels of land, and I also do mobile homes and land. So if your eyes aren't open to all these ways, you are probably throwing things in the trash can or not soliciting for things that you should be soliciting for. So, Kathy, how are you today?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You're absolutely right. And same in our industry, we like urban commercial, and I love those brick and mortar, those nice houses. We do a lot of those. And mobile homes and vacant land and duplexes, triplexes, quads. So kind of whatever comes at us and makes sense. So we've never locked ourselves into any one niche. And that's a real important lesson for our listeners today.
Yeah. So, you know, you spend this time sending out pieces. If you're not letting people know that you also buy land or that you also buy mobile homes or something, you could have wasted some postage in an envelope and a yellow letter or a postcard and not given yourself a couple of other chances to get some business. And let's face it, the money you make from any of these strategies, it's all green.
Yep.
And that's what matters. And the purchasing of them, the rehabbing them, or doing whatever you do, and then the reselling them, they're all within the same realm. They're not really big shifts to make. You do have to think about them a little bit different. And so that's why we have Kathy on the line, because we're going to be talking about how to think about vacant land and parcels of land and how you can profit from them. So I guess the first question we always got to address is, where do we find this product? You know, where are we finding this stuff?
Okay, so I find vacant land using direct mail, of course, because you know I am the queen of direct mail. So direct mail marketing is a big part of it. We also do tax deed sales. In Florida, we are also a tax certificate state, so we buy tax certificates. We use delinquent tax lists. So there's a lot of really good ways for our folks to find these pieces of vacant land. And also, Mitch, as you well know, the response rates from these mailings are like nothing you've ever dealt with houses. You got to put your thinking cap in a different place. The response rates are very, very high. You are reaching a corner of the market that simply does not exist for other real estate investors.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second because I have some experience in this arena myself. The reason why the response rates are high is raw pieces of land are usually a money drag, or what we call an alligator. It's always taking bites. This alligator is always taking bites out of their bank account. Um, Taxes, maintenance. A lot of times, if you have vacant lot in the city, people
Right.
are dumping on it, so you're having to pay money all the time to remove the trash, because if you don't, the city's going to come by and remove it for you and send you a much bigger bill than you would have had if you handle it yourself. And they're not emotionally attached to it like houses. I mean, when you're doing houses, mom lived here for 50 years, or my children were born here. I mean, on raw land, it's not usually an emotional thing. And it kind of seems like, to the seller, it feels like found money, because they're not using the land, they're not doing anything with the land. It doesn't hold a really high position with them, because if it's raw and vacant, and then what are they really doing besides having maybe a picnic on it once in a while? And that's even if it's a bigger parcel. If it's just a lot, no one's going there to do that. So that's the reason why I think you need to open up your mind to this, because it's a easier, quicker sale.
Yeah.
They value the land less, a lot less emotional attachment. So am I right on that, Kathy?
Absolutely. And to be truthful about it, Mitch, we're buying vacant land for like dimes on the dollar, because there's no emotional attachment. They want to get rid of it. They inherited this thing. About 50% of the sellers that I work with have never seen it, have never seen the piece of vacant land. Or they bought it with the intention of building a vacation home, or they bought it because they were going to put a retirement home, or they bought it because they were going to bring their RV down and park it on there for 2-3 weeks, and none of that ever happened. So these are some really, really good. These are some really good marketable pieces of vacant land, and there's a lot of good deals out there to be made. And I absolutely love it. I'll give you an example of a mailing that we did recently. This is a very specific targeted list that we use. I mailed out 147 pieces. We got 19 responses, which was a 13% response rate. We ended up buying 7 of those pieces of vacant land. I cashed out on 3 and I leased 4. So we kind of, whatever the market is, however the market is feeling, it, depends on whether I'm going to sell it or lease it or what we're going to do. And that's a really big issue for the folks that are buying vacant land. Everything is buy and flip, buy and flip, buy and flip. And God, it makes me sick. I hate that. I hate seeing that, because there are so many opportunities for long-term income on vacant land. It's just ridiculous.
So here's an idea I had a long time ago, and check this out. Everybody wants a mobile home park. They seem to, that's a really glamorous thing. Of course, those mobile home parks are selling at 4% cap rates, and they're not leaving any room if they're any good at all. If they're not completely got backed up with major problems, sewage to be one of them. So imagine you have a spreadsheet that is your mobile home park, and every time you find a piece of vacant land, you can rent it out to a mobile home, to someone who wants to put a mobile home on it. And so there you can have your own mobile home park with no boundaries and no limit to what size it could grow. Your mobile home park is on a spreadsheet, and although the pieces of land may not be contiguous or all in one geographic area, the spreadsheet is representative of a park, and you're renting this parcel and this parcel and this parcel and this parcel. And the beautiful thing of it is you're not limited by any boundaries. You can grow that mobile home park on that spreadsheet to 3 units, to 300 units, to 3,000 units. It doesn't matter. So it's like this park that has no end to it. Right. And I love that concept, because it's also very hard for people who rent your land to tear it up, so you either have a septic on it, or you put a septic on it, or it has a hookup to city sewer. The only thing I would caution you about is, if you rent your land and it has trees on it, you make damn sure there's a clause in your rental contract that they do not touch nor trim nor do anything to those trees without your permission or calling you to get it done. Because I have had one instance in my life where someone went and cut down all my damn trees, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking. But when I foreclosed on it, when I'm back out there, it wasn't the same piece of land. It didn't have the same value because these idiots cut down the trees.
Right.
So there's a little 2 cents for you, a little maybe keep you out of trouble clause. So where do we go here on the conversation? Let me get my questions up here on my thing went blank.
Something else I want to.
You talked about the response rates. What kind of vacant land deals are you doing? Like, do you have an example of one of your recent land deals and like what kind of money it made? Let's give us a case study.
Yeah, I got so many, but one of my favorites, because I wanted to talk for a moment while I tell you about this deal about return on investment, because it's not like buying a house and having a mortgage on it or a private loan on it for whatever period of time. Your return on investment on these pieces of vacant land are quick. And then you end up taking that same money and putting it into another piece of vacant land. So let me tell you about one that we did. It was just a little piece. It was a 200 by 200 lot in city. So there's like 4 different kinds of property that you can buy. So that would be like in city, urban, rural, commercial, or industrial. So those are the 5 types of vacant land. This one was urban. So I'm sorry, it was in city actually. And we ended up selling this, we ended up leasing it first to a gentleman who owned a canoe outpost. So I ended up buying that particular piece of land, 200 by 200 lot, and I paid $1,500 for that particular piece of land. He moved a shed on that, and it was mostly cleared. No water, no sewer, anything. And he moved a shed on that piece of vacant land because it was also a block away from a major boat ramp in the area. So he wanted it to store canoes, kayaks, life vests, all the good stuff that you paddles, all the things that you need for kayaking. And my husband and I really like kayaking. So we were knocked out by this deal. It was like, yes, another place for us. And so he ended up renting it for $750 a month. So in 2 months, he paid for my piece of vacant land, done. So he ended up keeping the vacant land for a year. He rented it from us for a year. And then he ended up buying it from us for $9,000 because he didn't want to pay me rent anymore. So we ended up making a really great profit on a piece of land. We had nothing in, Mitch. We got our money back and it just sat there and churned out income every single month.
Well, you probably got it back on the first month's rent and the deposit equal to the first month's rent.
Absolutely.
You're almost there right there.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you look at your overall land purchases, what's the average price? Because I'm shooting in a direction that I think is going to be interesting. What's the average price for a piece of land when you buy it?
It depends. Gosh, it's all over the place. At the minimum, probably literally maybe 1,000, 1,500. And then on the bigger end, and you would enjoy this probably being a Texas kind of guy, I have another piece that we paid probably, I think we paid $300,000 for it. It's 166 acres and it is now a hunting camp. So we do hunting leases on that particular. I partnered with someone on that deal and we're doing hunting leases. So it's everywhere, Mitch, and it depends on where you are and what your opportunities are. There's just tons of different things to do.
Well, so where I was headed was, if you're talking about lots, now when you said 166 acres, that's more like a parcel of land or a small ranch or whatever. But in parcels of land, acre, 2 acres, whatever, half acres, quarter acres,
under 10.
Really, under 10. So where I was headed was this is credit card money. So even if you don't have the money, you could get a 0% interest, 6 month, 8 month, 10 month, 18 month credit card offer. You could actually buy this piece on the credit card and then use the income from it, or just float your time until you sell it for cash with no loans, no loan fees, no interest, probably no interest with the way they hand out 0% introductory offer cards for you to sign up. And it's a really good way to start, especially if you're broke. This might be one of those avenues. You know, I'm always telling people, if you don't have money, then you have to start picking strategies that allow you to function with no money. There's, you know, and literally every strategy could be done without any money. If you look at it from the point of view that I just get the deal and then I invite a money guy to come in and we split, you know, so that makes almost every deal you don't have to have money for. But if you're trying to run solo, or you want to add another
Stream of
I don't
income.
have any money strategy,
Yeah.
then these little lots of land are a good way to get your start, get you up and running, and start getting some money in your bank account. So when you do need to write a check for some down payments or something sometime in the future, you have some money to do it with. Or you can take some of that money and send it over to Kathy and learn about her direct mail program and start getting an advertising budget with some of this little money that you got, so you can start to ramp up. And
Right.
that's the whole point.
And for those folks in our audience who are a little bit more seasoned investors, I'm not kidding you, Mitch, these are ideal deals to be putting in the Roth IRA and in your 401k. I just sold 2 pieces of vacant land a week ago. Both of them went back into the Roth IRA. So we do a lot of deals in and out of our Roth IRA as well. I'm just throwing other ideas out there for them.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I just think by opening up to some other strategies, you're giving yourself a much broader chance to get hit by the money truck. And I say this all the time. You can't get hit by the money truck if you don't stand in the middle of the road. So you've got to put yourself in the middle of the road at every opportunity. Well, I know you're putting yourself in the middle of the road with these little houses that you're fixing and flipping or trying to wholesale, but why not put yourself in the middle of the road of these other ideas too? Because do you really care which money truck hits you? Because I don't care. As long as I get run over by the money truck, I'm good.
Right. The other thing with vacant land that I really like, Mitch, I live in the hurricane capital of the world. You do a little bit, but not nearly like we are. And so with my pieces of vacant land, it's like, oh, we lost another tree. Oh, darn. It's not like, oh my God, my house, so it's a much easier pill to swallow, and it's a much easier form of income, no tenant, no toilets, no plumbing issues and all of those kind of things you simply don't have with vacant land. And there are so many ways. I mean, you can buy and flip vacant land, and that's perfectly okay. And if you need money, like you need oxygen, go for it, do it. But if you're able to hold on to them, leasing vacant land is killer. I have a little piece of vacant land that sits on a main highway. It's only 1.25 acres, and people told me I was an idiot for buying only 1.25 acres on a main highway. But what we do on that one is temporary leases. So Christmas tree lots, fireworks, political signage during that part of the season, veggie stands, all kinds of different things. So we do a lot of short-term leases with that one. And food trucks. I got a food truck on there right now. So it's a constant source of income. I'm not paying insurance. I'm not dealing with a long-term tenant, so there's just so much flexibility.
Yeah. So, and also vacant land is a great thing to owner finance or seller finance. And
yes,
in my book, The Art of Owner Financing,
yeah.
I talk about, I'm not, you never second guess a great deal. You did a great deal, but what about that land that you rented for $700 a month and then you sold to the guy for $900? Chances are, if you wanted to take your money over time, you might have been able to sell that land for $18,000 if you'd have taken $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 down and wanted to collect payments at 10% for X amount of years. So, because owner financing allows you to charge more because you're allowing them to pay out in small increments. So there is a plethora of eye-opening income that can happen from raw land. You'll just find it very interesting. Now, let's talk about, you have a course on this, right?
I do.
All right. And one of the things I like about Kathy is I've interviewed her on her course for Amazon sales, if I said that right. I've interviewed her on her direct mail program. And today we're talking about her course for vacant land. The reason why I keep coming back to her or allowing her on or choosing her as a guest when she comes is she really handles her customers well. Her products are well-rounded. They're deep and thoughtful. And she takes care of her customers, and she does a good job of delivering on the promises that she makes. And that's really the main reason I'd have no problem putting Kathy on this podcast anytime she has something, because she's one of those people that cares. It's not in it just for the sale. Right. She's trying to create a product that will get you to where you want to go if you work it, because nothing's going to work if you don't work it. And then they have some support and they're willing to talk to you or be there for you for a certain amount of time, just in case you have some questions and some work. So that's a hats off to you, Kathy, because
Thank
not
you.
everybody's that way.
I appreciate that so much. And also, Mitch, with the vacant land course, they get all the contracts, all the disclosure forms, everything that they need to actually do the deals. They also get me for 12 months to hold their hand along the way to help them with the marketing and finding their deals and stuff. So you're right. Customer service in our office is everything, everything, everything. And I appreciate you having me on these podcasts. You're one of the most incredible hosts that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And that really is the truth.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know what I did to deserve that, but I'll take it. So I want you to go to 1000houses.com/vacant land deals. Now that's a little long because I just want to make sure that I'm not using a keyword that I used in my other 500 podcasts. And so
Right.
I'm sure vacant land deals will separate us for sure. And I want you to go there. That'll take you to the show notes. And over there, you'll see what she's offering for the vacant land course, with everything that she offers, how to get involved, what it costs. You want to talk about the cost?
I do. I'm doing something special for your guys when they go to when they go to your
Show
page,
notes. Yeah.
and the link takes them over. They are going, the normal price, my normal sale special price is $1,197. But when they use coupon code VACANT, they're going to get another $200 off. So it's only going to be $997. And we're doing that just for your folks. If they go anywhere else, they absolutely will not find that anywhere else. You and I have been doing business now for a long time, and I wanted to do something real special for the podcast folks. So if they use that coupon code, and it's on your page.
Yeah, it'll be on the page. So go to 1000houses.com/vacant land deals. Everything will be over there. And Kathy, may I suggest, go ahead and put some links to your other stuff while you're there, you know, the direct marketing and all that, just because if someone's there, they might be interested in that too. And instead of them having to go right now and find that podcast, they can just go to the show notes and find everything you offer. But within that will be the thing we're talking about today, which is the vacant land deals and how to profit from vacant land. It's a big eye opener. This has got to be a revelation to some of you guys out there listening that are walking right past it every day. Now, what we do, Kathy, if you don't mind me saying, we do driving for dollars. We hook up with a software where you can pin these things. If you go to Land Glide, you know, you can be driving down the street, you can see your car, and you can, you know, it's kind of like Google Earth. You can zoom in or out. So you zoom out and you can see all the boundaries of all the properties. And inside each boundary of the properties says the owner's name and how many acres it is. And we start flagging them as we drive down the road.
Very
and
cool.
then when we get back to the office, we start researching those addresses and finding those owners. It's called Land Glide. And it's an app that you just put on your phone. I think it costs a little bit of money per month, but my God, for what it can make you, it's ridiculous. And we sometimes, once we find an interesting area, we just land glide the whole place. And we'll be looking for abandoned mobile homes and stuff, or you're looking for a gate that the grass has grown up 2 feet, and you know no one's been in and out of this gate on this property for a long time. You know, even the road beyond the gate going into the property is overgrown. We know that this person is not paying any attention to this land. It deserves our attention, and it kind of ups our resolve to get a hold of this guy, because obviously he's not even been out there in months, if not years. So
that's awesome. That out.
Yeah. And
I just wrote that down.
You can find a lot of things. There's also a paid subscription you can get to. You can go to 1000houses.com/machine. There's another similar kind of driving for dollars app there. But what's cool about this one is you can get out of your car, you can take a selfie with that house or that abandoned mobile home or that gate or that vacant land with you in the background, and it becomes the postcard that you send out. And that postcard will undoubtedly separate you from all the other postcards from all the other people that want to buy houses, because they're going to see you, a real person, and they're going to see their property in the background. And that separates you from every other postcard on the table.
Very cool.
And so you can go to 1000houses.com/machine if you want that kind of functionality. It's cool. It's really cool.
Now, the way that I got to tell you, the way that I do the direct mail piece is the same way I do my direct mail for houses. And so what I do is we send a real specific, soft kind of a letter to the sellers. And there's a response mechanism in the body of the letter where they give us all the information about the property, and then they send it to us. And so the deal's pre-screened already when it hits our desk. So that's another way that we pre-screen those deals ahead of time. And if I showed you the letters and, please buy this, I'm sick of paying taxes. And we work a lot with the delinquent tax list. That is like huge for us in our vacant land business. Yeah. And it's just absolutely amazing. And the response rates are so high and the people are so motivated. This is not like buying a house.
Yeah. I don't want to beat this horse to death, because it's not a big, complicated subject. So, no. If there's anything left that we need to say about it, or if I've left anything out, Kathy, let's take this time here to say, but we'll kind of start to wrap it up. And please, look, for $900 or $1,100 or $2,000, what, and Kathy has the right to change her price anytime she wants to. So it's August the 31st, 2021. So that's the price it is today. And the offer she gave was for today. It could change at any time, and anybody has that right. So understand that. But my point is, it takes one deal to make it look like chump change. I have made some of the best money I've ever made off of land and off of mobile homes and land. And quite frankly, no one values it. And there's a lot less competition for it. And the amount of money generally to fund the deal is so low that you can sometimes put it on a credit card or a couple of credit cards and get it moved down the road, pay off the credit card and keep your profit, or get it and then go find a private lender, go find a private lender to get you out of that potentially high credit card interest rate. But the main thing is you got to get it first. We'll worry about getting a better rate later. Go to my book, The Art of Private Lending, and you can learn how to figure that out if you want. We're just a plethora of knowledge around here. So,
and something else that I do also with the vacant land that's so killer. Another deal that I did actually came from buying tax deed. We paid $5,500 for that piece of vacant land, 2 acres, had a concrete pad, had electric, had a well and septic, $5,500, 2 acres. And I was like, woohoo. And what we do is the easiest way for us to sell these pieces of vacant land, even if they don't have well septic power, is we hook up with a dealer of mobile homes, a mobile home dealer. And what the mobile home dealer will do is they've got a buyer, they take their mobile home, our piece of land, and they chunk the whole thing together with the financing for the buyer, and we get paid.
Well,
I sit back and
they'll also, the mobile home sales company who's selling the mobile home to the person that needs your land for that mobile home.
Right.
They'll also sometimes finance the septic and the water connections and the electric.
They do that
all together.
Yeah. So it's a whole package.
There's also a great way to rent your lots is through the mobile home sales lot in town. You let every single one of those lots know, and the managers and the salespeople know, or tell the manager to hand out your pamphlet on the pieces of land you have for sale or for rent, and they will rent it or sell it for you. And get this, don't volunteer for a commission unless they ask, because most of the time they don't even want a commission. They just need a place so they can get the commission on that $90,000 house. They just need a place to put it, because every one of those mobile homes, they got to have a place to put it before they can consummate the sale. And so don't volunteer much. I mean, $500 would be a godsend, an extra spiff for this guy. but they probably won't even ask you for
No.
a referral or a spiff or a commission or anything, because they have to have a place to put this home before they can make their
Correct.
check.
Correct. So that's just something else that we do that's really killer. And I send them updated lists of the vacant land I have available every 30 days. So
Yeah.
that's just another really quick way to sell your pieces of vacant land or rent them, like you said.
So, you know, there's a sponsor of this podcast called Livecom, and it's about mass texting. So if you created a little phone number for and started putting or a list and uploaded it to a phone number dedicated to mobile home dealerships, you could collect all the phone numbers of the salespeople or the managers. And when you have a new parcel, you could just send a text with a link to wherever this parcel is on the website description, and you could hit all of these people in 30 seconds using Livecom. And how many people do not read their text messages? It's been proven, over 96% of the people that receive a text, that text gets read. So you have a direct bullseye about a product they really need. And for 2 cents per recipient, you can deliver the message to one of them or 100 of them in 30 seconds.
Yep. The other thing that you want to do when you buy a piece of vacant land and you want to lease or rent that piece of vacant land, the first thing you're going to do is talk to the neighbors too. I have a piece of vacant land, and I've actually had articles written on this piece of vacant land because it's just so cool. The gentleman had a worm farm next door, and he needed to expand his worm farm, and it was an acre and a half that I bought next door to him. And so we still have that lease. That's been 3 years already. And he leased that piece of vacant land from us, and he's doing nothing to the piece of vacant land. The way that they expand a worm farm is with tubs and tubes. So there's nothing like underground or anything, which is what I thought. It was like, well, how are you going to get the worms out of the ground? Because they didn't know anything about it. But they use tubs and tubes as connectors. And so here we've got this incredible deal that we're leasing every single month because we took the time to talk to a neighbor. So there's
in Texas, where I'm from, and it seems like it should be common courtesy anywhere, is when you have a piece of property for sale, you should always offer it to the owner, right, left, front,
absolutely
back. You know,
that's a first.
You know, that is as a common courtesy, because these people they may have only one chance to expand their standing in that area. And now that doesn't mean you have to offer any special price to them or anything. You just give them first right of refusal for what you want. The truth of the matter is that land is probably more valuable to them than to anybody else. And you might get a premium.
At a price.
Start high and talk to them first, because there is no other person. You know, there's 1 or 2 or 3 people that are contiguous to this land, and that's it. And it's the most valuable to those people if they want it.
Right.
If they want it, there's no other piece like it.
Right, exactly.
To them.
Right.
Yeah. So these are the caveats and the things you kind of learn. Like every strategy, things sound really simple on the surface, and then you start to learn there's all this minutia and there's all this way to up your game, but you got to get privy to someone who's done it and listen to what they have to say and what their experiences are. That's why you pay $1,100 or $2,000 or $25,000 for a mentor or a program, is so that you can get to all that minutia without having to go 20 years to get it.
Right. And something else that I also discuss in my system that's covered completely is all the due diligence stuff. So we cover due diligence, you know, taking a look at the property, figuring out the topography, whether or not it's got liens, you know, all of the, you know, whether it's landlocked, you know, all those kind of things.
Is it in a floodplain?
Exactly.
Is it, you know, here's one you need to watch out for. Like if you're buying smaller inner city lots, like I knew some people that were buying lots for a little bit of nothing. The problem was you had to have 45,000 square feet to put a house on it, and it was under the minimum. So the plan to build a house on it or to sell it to someone who wanted to build a house was out the window. And now you were actually at the mercy of the people right and left, because they were the only ones that would want it.
Right.
And owning a vacant piece of land in the inner city, like a 1/4 acre lot, can be quite the liability, because let me tell you, people will dump on them all day long in the big cities. And this can be a major drain of cash, and it's hard to stop. So just be aware that that is a little bit of the downside. Hey, we love talking to you about the upside and all the money you can make, but I also believe you got to talk about some of the ugly things too, so we can help keep people out of trouble and have a sincere, transparent conversation about what we're really talking about.
Right. Now, I did buy a piece in city that was undersized. And before we bought that piece of vacant land, I went down to the city and they told me that we could build a home on it. And we ended up building the house. It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It's absolutely adorable. And they told us that we could go up. And that's all in the variance that we got. So we had to stay within a specific footprint, but we can go up as well. So at the point we decide that we want the house bigger, we can go up. That house has been a rental for me for 5 years, and my tenant is closing on it at the end of next month. So yay.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. So I think we may have covered what we need to cover. Please go to 1000houses.com/vacant land deals. Anything else I left out? I mean, we could probably talk about this for 3 hours, I know.
We could, but I do want to let them know the system is really complete. Like I said, it's got all of the disclosure forms, all the documents, it's got all the contracts. We cover due diligence. I cover all of that in there for you. How to physically find a piece of land based on the tax ID number and what that means and how to read it. I covered all of that for them. So this one is like aces. They absolutely, folks, if you want to make a ton of money with vacant land, this is what you need. This is the manual that will tell you step by step how to do that.
Well, it's always the same with every strategy. You get the information and then you got to get off your ass and you got to
implement.
Got to implement. Got to get, nothing going to happen in a sofa. So I really appreciate you being on. Again, go to 1000houses.com/vacant land deals. And over there, there'll be a complete description of everything you get, what's involved. See how robust it is. I know Kathy, I know she covers her bases and she gives a really good product. So check it out. There's no reason in the world you shouldn't see a return on the investment to learn about this strategy. If you don't, I'm going to tell you it's your fault because there's everything works if you work it, especially if you have the right good information, the contracts, the disclosures, and all that stuff. So everything will work if you work it. You just got to work it, and she'll tell you how to even work it. So
absolutely.
Kathy, I appreciate you taking the time to be on. As always, you're a pleasure and you're an asset to this industry. You always give a good quality product, and I appreciate it very much.
I thank you, Mitch. Thank you for having me. And I always enjoy doing these. Like I said, you are like the best host ever. And the folks that I've worked with from your podcast, you draw the most amazing students, customers. And so I really appreciate your having me on, and I appreciate the folks that are listening in.
It is an amazing group, if I don't say so myself. I didn't have anything to do with really who they are, but when I get their emails and their text messages, these people are involved, they're engaged, they're sharp, they're asking the right questions, they're motivated. 95% of them seem to be really motivated, and it's a pleasure to me to hear their success stories. So if you ever have a success story from this or some other stuff that I've promoted and you've done well with it, send me an email at mitch@1000houses.com. That's mitch@1000houses.com, and just share a little bit of your success story. We can pass it along to whoever, Kathy or whoever, and let them know, hey, we got some nice mail from some people that had some success doing what you know how to do, and that you were benevolent enough to teach. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love working with people.
Really you do, and it shows. All right, my friends, this is Mitch Stephen with the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Kathy Kennebrook. I want to thank you for stopping by to get you some Kathy Kennebrook. She's over in Florida, and she's going to help you learn how to make money on vacant land. She's going to help you learn how to do some really effective direct mail marketing. Or if real estate's not really been for you, she has a whole business unrelated with Amazon sales that I know people have been having a success with because they tell me. And it'll all be over in the show notes, 1000houses.com/vacant land deals. All right, we are out of here. Bye, Kathy.
Bye. Thanks.